Hello, welcome to my live, my very first live, I guess. So, today I'm going to be answering some questions that I got after I made the video on how I handle my crochet business. I have some questions that I'll be answering as I crochet this scarf. I'm going to make a scarf for a client and she wants me to use a ruffle stitch. So I'm going to be answering. I have all the questions written down here. And if you have also other questions, please do comment down below and I'll be answering them. I hope you're getting me clearly. So let's just dive in. The first question that I got was, what made you want to turn your crochet into a business? I started crocheting when I was still very young. I think when I was about 9 years old. And it was like a fun thing. I was not doing it like for a business or to sell anything that I make. So after a while, after I joined university, I kind of wanted to take my business or my hobby to the next level. That's when I decided to start my crochet business or turn it into a business altogether. The reason as to why I wanted to turn it to be a business, because first of all, I love crocheting. Crocheting is my passion, and it's something that when I do, I don't get bored. And secondly, I had it in my mind that when I don't make like sales, I will not get discouraged, or when I don't make my output out there for people to see, I'll not get discouraged. That's why I started my crochet business, because I love it. It's my passion and it doesn't get me bored. I can do this like all my life. So question number 2, how did you find your first customer or sale? I found my first customer in church. I had made a scrunchie and it wasn't that good. It was fair. It was my first time making a scrunchie, but the person took interest in it. She actually bought the one I had on. I remember it was kind of rainy, and most people had it was windy as well, and most people had their hair, disorganized and all that. So when she saw my scrunchie, she picked interest in it and she bought it there and then. And this was really great. It made me kind of decide to take my crochet business to another level by selling that first scrunchie. I just wanted to give it to her like for free, but she said it was something that was worth money. So we exchanged it. She gave me the cash. I didn't know how to charge it, but I just gave it to her. She gave me whatever kind of money she had at that time. Um, the third question is, did you start on Etsy, Instagram, word of mouth, or something else? Just like I've explained in the last question, I didn't I didn't start it on Etsy. I didn't start it like it was just what I had on that made me make my very first sale. So it wasn't something like fancy, a shop or a shop or like Etsy, Instagram. I was posting a few things here and there on Instagram, but at this time, Instagram was not so much into. I was not so much into Instagram and social media at such. Most of the things I was posting on social media wasn't crochet related, or it wasn't like things that I would sell. I was making crochet for fun, and that's why they started buying my items. So it wasn't like Etsy, it wasn't like Instagram or social media, any social media platform. It's what people saw and they picked interest in buying. Um, Number four, what was the first item you sold and how did it feel? I sold my very first item, like I have already explained, that was a scrunchie. And I think I sold it for like, if I remember very well, I sold it for like 5,000, I think around 5,000 Ugandan shillings. So it felt so good because at that time I was like, oh, this, after all, this can be turned into a business. So when someone bought my very first scrunchie, it encouraged me to make more items. And the more I wore them, the more people bought from me. That is how I started actually seeing my crochet business, crocheting as a business. So yeah. And the next question is, how did you price your items in the beginning, and how has that changed? So at the beginning, I didn't know how to price my items because I didn't believe in like selling my crochet my crochet items. All I wanted was to put my work out there and get and see if people would really be interested in buying my crochet items. So the question here is, how did you price your items? Just like I've explained right now, I wasn't selling, like I wasn't taking it like a business, but I was just giving it out and testing the waters if people would really like my pieces, if that makes sense. The next question is, what's your best selling crochet items right now? My best selling crochet items right now are scarves because where I am right now in my country, we're in a rainy season and it's very cold. So my items changes. They change from the kind of weather we are in, the season we are in. At times when kids are going back to school, you find that bags are going like very fast. So at the moment, what I am selling most are the scarves. People are really interested in the scarves because of the bad weather, the cold weather that we're in right now. But all this change from one season to the next. And when it's like hot season or sandy season, people mostly go for tops, like tops that are lighter, bikini wears, throw-ons, and the likes. So all these things are changed according to the weather, according to the season. We don't have like a specific thing that sell, you know. So yeah, so I cannot say that what I'm really selling or what I sell most is something because they keep changing seasonally. The next question is, how do you handle custom orders or client requests? People have different preferences. That's why personally I don't make things and I stock a lot, because whenever I stock things, people normally don't like go for the color choices, the patterns that I have. So in most cases, what I do is I make a few things and I put it out there for people to see. Like, for example, before the rainy season started, I made a few scarves and I posted so that people know that I do make scarves. And because of that, they picked interest in what I make, and they place their orders on basing on what colors and patterns they like. So I take custom orders, but in most cases, I first let the clients know what I have in stock before I tell them if they can go ahead and, place the orders according to what they want. But I don't like making a lot of custom orders when it comes to wearables, because in the area where I am right now, I don't have like a lot of preferences when it comes to to the type of yarn that I use. So in most cases, I have only the robin yarn. I think I have only the robin yarn, which is this that I'm using right now. So when it comes to wearables, it's a bit tricky taking measurements for people. That's why I normally restrict myself in making wearables. When it comes to wearables, I have to meet the customers, I have to measure them, I have to put myself to do trials and errors, because when the person is not there for you to be keeping measuring them, changing the sizes, it's a bit hard. So I don't take a lot of custom orders when it comes to wearables. But when things to do with hats, bags, um, flowers, there I can make without any struggles. But when it comes to wearables, it's a bit tricky. I don't like taking custom orders for wearables a lot because of that reason. It's very hard to take measurements for these clothes to fit the clients. So yeah, that is how I normally do my custom orders and custom requests. So if you're watching, please say hi. Don't just keep quiet. Let me know you're there, please. The next question is, do you track your time and materials or price them based on value? I consider actually all the above, because when it comes to materials, materials determine a lot on the pricing. The time you take making an item also determines a lot on the pricing, and of course the value. Like when you are making a crochet, before you price or you tell the customer, take time, give yourself time to write down the balancing and the figures that you need. Sometimes we get so anxious, sometimes we get so too much excited to start on making an order for a client without even tracking down how much you charge them. So my advice would be that when you take an order, please be careful when you're telling the client your prices, or else at the end of the day, you will undercharge or overcharge the clients. So in most cases, I consider the time I'll take for making an item. I'll consider the cost of materials. In the cost of materials, I include also transport in it, buying the materials from the shops, and then I also include the labor, how much I would pay myself for making an item. So that is a formula I normally use before telling the client the actual price for my item. Yeah. So most people don't take their time when it comes to pricing crochet. And that's why the clients normally say you're overpricing them. Take your time. Don't rush. When a client asks for something, don't rush. Just tell the client you get back to them shortly as you calculate how much something is worth. You don't need to undervalue yourself, because crochet, generally handmade is not cheap. Handmade is expensive. So if you explain to your client that, they'll have to understand if they really want your item, that is. So the next question is, how do you balance making what sells versus what you love making? Generally, I love crocheting. Nothing gets me bored. Nothing makes me stressed up or overthink or what. But I also have to consider that this is a business. I don't have to crochet things that I don't have to crochet things that I love doing, or the things that I don't get like an over exaggerating over. So in most cases, I make things that people buy. For instance, in my country right now, it's cold. And I don't have to make like bikini wears because I love making bikini items. They are fast to make. I love seeing the designs, They make me happy generally, and people really love bikini wears. But I can't make bikini wears in this season. Just like I've mentioned, it's a cold season, and people are going for heavy things. People are going for things that make them warm. So I don't like overstocking my shop, if I'm to say. I don't like overstocking things that don't move and people don't buy. So in most cases I make a thing or two just for the sake of content creation and making people know that I can make them, or they are in stock or something like that. So basically I make things when people place the orders. Yeah. So the next question is, what platforms do you sell on and why? At the moment, I'm 100% using social media platforms. There's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's TikTok. I post in all these three. Because they are easily accessible. I don't need to pay for them or something. In my country, Etsy don't really work very well because of the mode of payment, and very few people use the websites. I'm planning on working making for myself a website, though it's not like very urgent for me or very useful at the moment. I'm not targeting like international audience or buyers right now. I'm basically doing local at the moment. That's why I use my social media platforms more compared to opening a shop or having a website, things like that. So at the moment, I'm just using social media and mostly Facebook. Facebook is where I get my most like clients, where I get a lot of customers, and then TikTok actually. One of my videos blew up on TikTok, I think around November last year, and that kind of gave me the encouragement. And since then, I've been getting orders in and out, like on TikTok. And from the beginning, I was using just Facebook because it's what people use in my area most. So yeah, I use Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram for my business. Um, the next question is, what what has worked best to promote your crochet business, social media or physical markets? Let me say all. Um, Physical markets in my area, unfortunately, people don't appreciate handmade that much. It's so unfortunate. So whenever I'm going for markets, I try my level best to look at the patterns and to consider what people in my area want. Very few people in my area love buying bikini wear or things that are wearables that are too exposed, like, you know. So when I'm going for the markets, I choose what to take. For instance, I would take the bags, I would take the flowers, I would take the cardigans, the scarves, because a lot of people don't do wearables much in my area. And this doesn't stop me from posting on social media because I have people elsewhere who love the bikinis, who love the exposed things, the headbands. So I don't restrict myself in on markets or on social media. I try my level best to be out there for all my clients because you just can't tell when and where your client can come. So that is what I normally do. Um, how do you stay consistent with posting content? At first, I used not to like social media very much. I was kind of shy per se, and I didn't like putting myself like out there to be seen. So in most cases, I would just take photos, I would just make things and hide it away or just keep it in my phone. But with time, when I started getting clients from social media, I after posting once or twice, I got the courage to keep posting. Not consistently at first because it's hectic. Shooting content is making content is something that is not very easy, especially things to do with creativity. For instance, you need to crochet, you need to take content, you need to do a lot of planning when it comes to crocheting as a business because you have to, especially when you're doing it online, like I am at the moment. So, what you need to do best is to pick a day in a week. What I do, I normally pick like one day in a week and I make the a full week of content. I normally choose Sundays because I don't have like a lot of things to do on Sundays. So I plan my content, shoot videos, make contents, the captions, the hashtag, all the good things in one day. So I post them all at once, then I schedule them. I normally don't go back to schedule them like daily. I schedule all of them in one day. And because of that, has really helped me save a lot of time. Excuse me. It has helped me save a lot of time because I don't normally go back to create content every day of the week or every hour and all that. So that is how I've stayed consistent. And because of the messages, because of the orders that come in, that's really kept me so motivated and kept, putting my work out there. I'm purely online right now. So I don't have like the privilege of not being on social media or not posting because that's how I get my clients. Um, the 13th question is what kind of content gets the most engagement for you? I normally like posting encouragements, educational, inspirational contents because this is what like draw people close to my contents that I create. I realized this because when I just started posting on social media, I didn't start as right away as a business. So I started posting encouraging words to people, like motivational words to people, educational things. This kind of encourage people to start like following me, subscribing to me, and liking my the things that I post. And I was like, oh, why don't I just incorporate my crochet business with what really people want to see. I realize that people really love this kind of words, encouraging words, motivational words, and things that really educate them. People are driven by emotions. So in every post that I normally make, I try my level best to incorporate what people are used to seeing in my pages or platforms to what I make, like crocheting. So if you go to my Facebook, my TikTok accounts, you see that a lot of these posts are normally binding the two, my business and what really draw people to my pages or to my business. So yeah. Um the second last question is, have you tried paid ads, giveaways, or influencer collabs? No, I haven't tried. I have not tried any of those. Not that I don't like them or not that I don't like encourage anyone to do it, but I just love getting my clients or my followers or subscribers organically. I want people to like me or my business because of the value it gives them, not because I'm like using something else to make them attached or draw to my business. I'm not saying it's totally bad to do the ads, to do the giveaways, and to do the collabs. I don't discourage that, but to me, it really doesn't work that much for me. I want to start doing ads when my YouTube video grows. Of course, I'll need that. And then when I open my website, that's when I'll get into a lot of ads and giveaways and the the influencers and do collabs with the influencer. But right now, I'm not saying I can't afford to do it. I can, but just like I mentioned, I want to really get my clients organically. I want to get my customers organically, if that makes sense. So the last question is, what advice would you give to someone who wants to start selling crochet today? My advice to you is just start. Don't wait for anything. Just like I mentioned in my last video, please go and watch that. You don't need like a lot of money to start a crochet business. You don't need to break the bank. You don't need to a lot of investment to do that, simply because most of these things are not very expensive. And leave alone that a lot of crocheters don't start like right away. And trust me, you can get a lot of income streams when it comes to crocheting. So you don't need a lot of capital to start this kind of business. As I mentioned in my last video, I started literally with whatever I had. I started with the stash of yarn that I had in my house, like a few hooks of different sizes. And yeah, that's how I started my crochet business. So you don't need like to start with too much, you know. So that was our very last question. I hope you have enjoyed this live. My next live will be um a Q&A about, because this one is like part one. I wanted to do like different parts. This is like part one for crocheting as a business. I'll make the second part, and the second part will be specifically for crochet as a business. I mean, crochet as a hobby or as a handmade or something like that. But I want to make this as a series because it will help me and to also help you knowing why we crochet or what benefits we get from crochet or even how to crochet itself. Because a lot of people don't do this for the money. A lot of people do this to pass time. A lot of people do this um, as a hobby. So yeah, the next topic that we shall discuss will be a Q&A, but it will be basically and specifically for crochet as a hobby or as an activity, not necessarily a business. So I really want to finish this scarf very fast because I need to deliver it like tomorrow morning. So I just wanted to come up here and discuss a few things from you guys. I hope you've enjoyed my live. I know it has not been much, but since it's my first live, I have really, enjoyed it. So since I see no question on the follow up on this live, I will just end here, and I thank you so much for the people who passed by to say to watch me and to leave a like. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So I'll see you guys next time. If you have a question, you can still leave it down below. I'll answer it in the next live. Or if you still have a question right now, you can leave it down below and I answer that. So I think I can end here. And thank you so much, everyone. I'll see you next time. Bye.